The movie begins one afternoon when a dapper-looking entrepreneur, Mickey Pearson, enters a bar and orders a beer and a pickled egg. He plays a record on the jukebox while enjoying his meal to pass the time. He then calls his wife, Rosalind, to schedule their date night, only to be interrupted by an unseen figure seemingly shooting him from the back. Sometime before this incident, Mickey's right-hand man, Raymond Smith, comes home to his apartment when obnoxious private detective Fletcher appears to provide details on his new case. According to Fletcher, he has been hired by the editor of the daily print tabloid, Big Dave, to investigate Mickey's business. Despite being offered a sum of £150,000 in exchange for his help, he proposes a counteroffer to relinquish his findings, printed up as a screenplay entitled Bush, to Raymond, amounting to £20 million. He uses everything he learned about Mickey to persuade him, tailoring his story like a cinematic. He reveals his background, living in poverty until he acquired an Oxford scholarship. However, his studies coincided with his interest in horticulture, leading him to sell marijuana to his upper-class schoolmates. Realizing he had a knack for this kind of business, he created a criminal empire, getting his hands dirty when customers and dealers stepped out of line. After amassing millions of dollars in his empire, he planned his retirement by meeting with Jewish-American billionaire Matthew Berger at a posh gala for the Duke, Lord Pressfield, to discuss his intentions, even though the pair seemed to be at odds with one another. Following Rosalind's advice, he gets closer to him at a hunting party, with Matthew feeling impressed with his marijuana business. Mickey offered to sell it to him for £400 million and discussed specifics as they drove to the countryside. Fletcher adds that Big Dave intends to crush his criminal empire after getting snubbed by Mickey at a party by refusing to shake his hand. Mickey was not pleased with the tabloid's headline about one of the lords connected to his business accused of being gay. To retaliate, he instructs Fletcher to unravel his connections to Lord Pressfield and find anything incriminating. Continuing the story, the detective reveals that Mickey took Matthew to Lord Duncan's estate to lay out his plans to grow marijuana under the estates of aristocratic British landlords who need cash to maintain their upkeep. He proposed to build 12 farms that would eventually spread across the United Kingdom and increase the market share. Taking Matthew to an undisclosed location, Mickey tours him inside his underground facility with a shipping container built as a hidden entrance to avoid suspicion from onlookers. Matthew becomes astonished to see hundreds of cannabis strains grown in-house, where botanists plant them under direct UV rays to strengthen their effectiveness. Mickey clarifies that his intention to sell his ever-growing empire is brought upon by his desire to retire with his wife and have children without entangling him with unlawful gains. Fletcher then tells Raymond there is an obstacle to his boss's plans in the guise of ruthless Chinese mob boss Dry Eye, described as suave and debonair as he engages in secret smuggling activities. Before their inevitable meeting, Mickey tells Rosalind about Matthew accepting the deal. However, she cautions him to exit the business slowly to avoid arousing panic. The detective then stops his story, expressing interest in cooking outside on the patio, which prompts Raymond to retrieve a block of Wagyu steak from the freezer hiding a dead body. While preparing a meal, the story continues as Dry Eye, on the behest of his superior, gangster Lord George, offers Rosalind a shipment of 32 LS-based small block engines in exchange for a private meeting with Mickey, which Raymond had personally witnessed. The Chinese mob boss offers to buy out the business with a ridiculous, undisclosed amount. Still, Mickey refuses, killing his bodyguard and angrily shooting his crotch to show his authority. Fletcher reveals inventing that scenario as a joke, showing that Mickey lets Dry Eye leave unharmed while threatening to hurt Lord George's business if he continues getting provoked. Sometime after, exterminators are called to the cannabis farm to expel a rat infestation. As soon as they enter the facility, they reveal themselves as aspiring YouTubers, the Toddlers, recording a video of the facility as they initiate a theft and confront the guards. Not long after, they grab a quick bite at the diner and provoke a customer, not realizing he is their MMA trainer, coach. Their hijinks, edited as a rap video, are uploaded on YouTube and seen by Mickey, Rosalind, and Raymond, much to Coach's dismay, demanding to take it offline. Knowing the incident would hurt their reputation, Mickey meets with Matthew, who gives him a tiny golden gun disguised as a paperweight to address his worries. Sometime later, he meets with his trusted confidant, Henry, about transferring his cannabis plants away from the estates to secure the business's continuity while recuperating the losses. He then visits Lord Pressfield and his wife, who wants him to rescue their drug-addicted, self-harming daughter, Laura, who has gone missing. Somehow, Big Dave wants information about this fiasco, as he knows it forced Mickey to break laws to recover her from delinquent celebrity Power Knoll, further implicating him in distributing marijuana to minors. After a brief discussion with his boss, Raymond reluctantly heads to a South London council estate to confront Power Knoll and his junkie friends and convince Laura to return home. After forcing himself and his goons into the apartment, the group refuses to let her go. However, Raymond allows them to think it over as he prepares a cannabis joint. As he speaks about morals and drug abuse, he prepares Laura for extraction after she becomes convinced to return to her rebellious ways. However, before she attempts to leave, Power Noel pleads with her to stay, only to get punched in the face by an angry Raymond, who threatens to cut off his arm. Returning to the workshop, Raymond reports the news of Laura's return to Mickey, saying he encountered some complications. As it turns out, one of his goons accidentally pushes a junkie, Aslan, out of the window during a brief scuffle, leading to the young boy's death. The unfortunate incident was caught on video, prompting Raymond to instruct the men to take all the phones as the onlookers hurriedly sprinted from the scene. Fletcher pauses his story to reveal a photograph he took of Raymond that day, implying that he was spying on the estate's activities for some time. As Mickey's right-hand man gets confronted by a group of wayward teenagers, he fires a few rounds off his rifle to scare them away, forcing the remaining teenager to relinquish his phone. He then incapacitates another teenager escaping on his bicycle before heading to Lord Pressfield's estate. Fletcher stops his story to pee, only to witness the goons carrying Aslan's corpse out of the freezer. Later, it is revealed that Coach learns about Mickey and plans to make amends for the toddler's chaotic behavior by locating Fook, one of Dry Eye's henchmen who disclosed the underground lab's location. After getting help from a student, Ernie, he later meets with Raymond at the pub to apologize as he presents Fook tied up inside his car's trunk. The young man pleads for his inhaler, but as soon as Coach gives it to him, he runs away, falling off the bridge and getting fatally run over by a train. Unnerved by the string of unfortunate deaths, Mickey visits Lord George to confront him about the lab raid. During the discussion, Lord George vomits due to ingesting tea laced with a Shingella packet. Mickey reveals destroying one of his heroin dens as retaliation and threatens to come after him should he attempt to disrupt his business activities. Lord George then meets with Dry Eye in the park to castigate his reckless actions by pulling off the raid and buying Mickey out behind his back. The crime boss confesses, saying he is ready to oust his boss and take over his empire. Fletcher then reveals Lord George was killed by one of his men before Dry Eye pees on his dead body. Afterward, he and Raymond examine a photograph he took of Dry Eye and Matthew, who are seemingly allied with each other. Deciphering a translation of their Cantonese conversation in the screenplay, Matthew intended for Mickey's cannabis operation to get disrupted to lessen the deal's price. Dry Eye loses patience and threatens him to stay out of his way as he takes over the Chinese mob after getting a blessing from his uncle. Still bent on consuming Mickey's business, he visits Rosalind in her office while Mickey is at the bar, looking shocked after Raymond kills an assassin sent to kill him. Realizing the danger, the pair rush to the workshop, only to collide with a passing train. Simultaneously, Dry Eye prepares to kidnap Rosalind, only to witness her shoot her goons with the golden gun paperweight. Before he attempts to sexually assault her, a bruised Mickey appears and shoots him. Fletcher ends his story piecing together all the events that link Matthew and Dry Eye together in a chaotic standoff to unravel who will usurp Mickey's position first. Despite the lengthy evidence detailed in the screenplay, Raymond refuses to accept the blackmail. He asks him to leave, forcing Fletcher to give him 3 days to pay up before he leaks the information to the tabloid. Unbeknownst to the investigator. However, Raymond calls for backup to deal with Big Dave. The following day, the toddlers appear outside the Daily Print to kidnap Big Dave after work. Some hours pass, as the editor awakens naked in a van with Coach, who reveals he was drugged and filmed having sex with a barnyard swine. He then threatens a horrified Big Dave to drop his investigation and cease the publication of Fletcher's material unless he wants the video to go viral. Raymond thanks Coach for his help, despite the teacher's reservations about leading his students in a gangster life. Later, Mickey and Matthew meet at a frozen fish plant, a front for his European cannabis distribution operation, entering a freezer to talk privately. Due to the recent disruptions that plagued the business, Matthew decreased his offer to £130 million, explaining his reason in a domino analogy. Mickey then surprises him with Dry Eye's frozen corpse hanging behind the boxes, revealing he deduced his plan. Matthew becomes unnerved when his Mossad bodyguards have been eliminated, and the video of his conversation with Dry Eye is shown on a laptop. With Mickey defiantly staying put in his empire, he orders Matthew to stay inside the freezer to die unless he transfers £270 million in compensation for the blood and turmoil he caused. He then reveals to be less affected by the money, but by the harm Dry Eye brought to his wife, a price he believes can never be paid with any monetary value. He then instructs Matthew to cut off one of his body parts to compensate for this indiscretion. Elsewhere, Fletcher approaches Raymond at lunch for the payment, only for Coach to present him with a suitcase filled with documents, revealed to be his insurance policy, after getting surveilled by Raymond from the beginning. Somehow, he placed a tracker under Fletcher's shoe the other night, allowing the toddlers to acquire a stash of incriminating evidence. Though Fletcher gets imprisoned in a steel crate, He gets freed upon revealing he has also sold information to Aslan's Russian oligarch father and ex-KGB, who sent the assassin to the pub to kill Mickey. Simultaneously, Mickey is kidnapped by 2 Russian goons. At the same time, Coach eliminates the Russian intruders in Raymond's house, allowing Fletcher to flee amid the shootout. Fortunately, the toddlers save Mickey by spraying the car's windshield with bullets to kill the men. Sometime later, the events of the incident are narrated by Fletcher in a Miramax film pitch meeting. Afterward, he hails a cab, only to see Raymond driving and trapping him inside the vehicle. The movie ends as Rosalind confirms his capture, relaying the news to Mickey and 6+ preparing to toast their success. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.